Welcome in, everyone, to Lively Lewis Stories.
That's right, we're back with even more awesome adventures with Levi and Ivy.
Set your storytime meter to fun and get ready to join the Lively Lewis crew.
All you need is your imagination and...
Off we go! I can't wait to see where our story takes us today.
Have you ever wanted to get more Lively Lewis in your adult and zoom over to livelylewisshop.com?
Or just click on the link in our show notes.
Enough about that. Let's get to Lively Lewis story.
It was the day of the giant pasta festival, and Levi and Ivy's mom and dad had decided to make a date out of it. They loved pasta and couldn't wait to sample all of the best dishes in town. Just the two of them. They had lined up Levi and Ivy's favorite babysitter, Angelica, to watch them. They knew their kids would be so excited to play with Angelica that they wouldn't mind that their parents were going out without them. "I'm so excited to go to the pasta festival tonight," said Levi and Ivy's mom to their dad as she got ready to leave. "I know, it'll be so nice to have a night out, just you and me," replied Levi and Ivy's dad. "But what?" asked Levi and Ivy's mom. "You know how much the kids love pasta. A little part of me feels bad not taking them along," said their dad. "I know, I was thinking the same thing," answered Levi and Ivy's mom while trying to figure out a solution. She wanted to make everyone happy, so she thought, and then finally said, "How about we make them a fun pasta dinner to eat here while we're gone? Then they get to have some tasty pasta too." "Sounds like a great plan," answered Levi and Ivy's dad. "I'll go see what kind of pasta we have in the kitchen." As he looked through the cupboards, however, he quickly realized that they were all out of pasta. He ended up calling to his wife and told her he was going to run to the store to get some more as he headed out the door. When Levi and Ivy's dad arrived at the grocery store, he quickly ran into another problem. "Oh no! Who knew making a pasta dinner for my kids would be so difficult?" he said, standing in the pasta aisle, staring at an empty shelf after empty shelf. Because of the pasta festival, every last box of pasta was gone from the grocery store. He knew he didn't have time to drive to another store, so he decided to ask someone who worked at the store if they had any boxes of pasta in the back. "Any kind will do," said Levi and Ivy's dad as a grocery store worker disappeared into the back to check. Only a minute or two passed before the big double doors that led into the stockroom swung open. The man who had gone on the pasta finding mission walked out with a big smile on his face and a big bag of pasta in his hands. "Looks like today's your lucky day," said the man. "We had one bag left, and it's even on sale." "Excellent, thank you so much," answered Levi and Ivy's dad as he grabbed the bag of pasta and ran off to the register to pay. As he waited in line, he looked at the pasta for the first time. It had a big sale sticker covering the beginning part of the pasta's name. Audie Oodles was all he could see. Audie Oodles? That's a silly name, he thought as he paid for the pasta. But any pasta will do right now. Levi and Ivy's dad got back home and quickly started making his kids a tasty pasta dinner using the new pasta he'd gotten at the store. "A little of this, a little of that," said Levi and Ivy's dad to himself as he created a delicious meal. "There, it's perfect. Mwah! Chef's kiss. I know Levi and Ivy will love it." Just as he was finishing up dinner, the doorbell rang. "It's Angelica!" shouted Levi and Ivy, who had been looking out the window for 15 minutes waiting for their favorite babysitter to arrive. "It's Angelica!" shouted Levi and Ivy's parents too, who also were very excited to see her. They opened the door and quickly welcomed her inside. "The kids' dinner is all ready and on the stove. We won't be back late. Just make sure they brush their teeth before bed. Thank you so much," said Levi and Ivy's mom as she quickly kissed Levi and Ivy goodbye and ran out the door. "Yep, what she said," said Levi and Ivy's dad as he hugged his kids and shut the door behind him. "Wow, that was fast," said Angelica, laughing. "It may be a new parent saying goodbye to a babysitter record." Then she immediately turned her attention to Levi and Ivy and gave them a big hug hello. After asking what they wanted to do, they all ran outside to play tag, then frisbee, then ride bikes, and then finally do some chalk drawing. "Wow, that was a really busy hour," said Angelica. "Are you too hungry?" Levi and Ivy cheered with excitement as they ran to the bathroom to wash up. After they had clean hands, they ran to the kitchen and sat down at the table. Angelica warmed up the tasty pasta that was waiting for them and handed it over. They were so hungry from playing that they said a quick thank you and started gobbling down their dinner. Before Angelica knew it, both Levi and Ivy's plates were empty. "It looks like you two really liked your dinner," said Angelica, ready to continue the fun with Levi and Ivy. "What should we do next?" "I think you should go home," said Levi, sounding a bit mad. "Levi, what do you mean?" said Angelica, sounding very surprised at Levi's sudden change in attitude. "Do you think I should leave too, Ivy?" "Yep," said Ivy as she picked up her cup of water and dumped it on the floor. Levi and Ivy then both laughed and ran out of the kitchen. Angelica was shocked at what she saw. Levi and Ivy had never acted this naughty before, and she didn't know what to do. Thinking it couldn't be true, Angelica thought maybe they were playing a prank on her, so she cleaned up the water and off she went to find them. She looked in the playroom first and couldn't believe what she saw. Levi and Ivy weren't there, but they had decided to do a little painting after dinner. However, instead of painting on a paper or a canvas, they painted on the walls. Hey friends, is that okay? Can you paint on your walls? No way. That's a bad choice, huh? "Oh no," exclaimed Angelica. "Their parents will never ask me to babysit them again after this." Angelica then ran off calling for Levi and Ivy before they did anything else. She finally found them in the backyard where they sprayed her with a hose, and as they ran off, they stomped on a bunch of flowers that their mom had just planted in the garden. "What is going on with you two?" called out Angelica. "You're being downright naughty." Levi and Ivy stopped for a second and looked at each other. "That's it exactly," said Levi. "We're feeling naughty." They both yelled and ran off. The rest of the time Angelica was babysitting, she just tried to stay out of their way as they dumped out toys, ate junk food, and made a mess with their craft supplies. Never for a minute acting like the Levi and Ivy that she babysat for so many times before. Angelica barely got Levi and Ivy into bed before their parents walked through the door at 8 p.m. "What a great day we had," said Levi and Ivy's mom. "Thank you so much for watching the kiddos. They just love having you over so much." "They were little angels as usual, I suspect." "Well," began Angelica hesitantly, "this time was a bit different. Actually, a lot different. Levi and Ivy were just so naughty. I've never seen anything like it. The only good thing about it was when they got so tired from all their prank playing and mess making that they fell asleep about 5 minutes ago, and I'm pretty sure they didn't brush their teeth." "Oh, no, I'm so sorry and so surprised to hear all of this," said Levi and Ivy's mom. "Here, take a little extra money for having to put up with all of this tonight." Levi and Ivy's mom and dad finally took a minute to focus on the house and saw that it was a complete mess. "I'm sorry I didn't get to clean up the rest of this," said Angelica. "I've just been following them around and cleaning all night. Don't worry at all. We're the ones who are sorry." "And how did you know they didn't brush their teeth?" asked Levi and Ivy's dad. "Because when I looked in the mirror, they had written it on the mirror in toothpaste," said Angelica as she grabbed her coat and left, exhausted and totally confused as to why Levi and Ivy had acted the way they did. "I can't believe what I just heard," said Levi and Ivy's mom, looking around the house at the mess that her kids had made. "It's so unlike them to act this way," added Levi and Ivy's dad as he stepped over the entire bin of wooden blocks that they had dumped all over the living room. "Well, at least they're asleep now. We'll just have to talk to them in the morning and figure out what happened," said their mom. "Hopefully by morning their attitudes will have changed," added their dad. Then Levi and Ivy's parents began to tidy up the house, making sure to leave a few things for their kids to put away when they got up the next morning. They would both have a lot of explaining and a lot of cleaning to do the next day. When morning arrived, Levi and Ivy's parents made sure they were up before the kids. They wanted to be ready to talk with them about what had happened the night before. And not long after they got downstairs to the kitchen, they heard little footsteps racing down the stairs. "Good morning, Levi and Ivy. Please sit down," said Levi and Ivy's mom in a stern voice. "We have to talk to you about what happened here with Angelica last night." "Yeah," continued their dad. "She said you were acting really naughty. We're not happy with the report she gave us. And after you explain yourselves over breakfast, you can clean up some of the messes you made." Levi and Ivy just sat at the kitchen table, not saying anything at all. Then Levi got up, walked over to the cupboard. "Breakfast sounds like a good idea," he said, reaching for his favorite box of cereal and then dumping it onto the kitchen floor. His parents looked on, completely shocked. Ivy laughed and said, That's okay. I'm not hungry for breakfast anyway. Now that I think about it, neither am I, said Levi as he stepped over the spilled cereal. These are some bad attitudes. We can't talk to people like that or do that, right? Let's see what's going to happen. We brought some cupcakes up to our room before we fell asleep last night, said Ivy. Levi and Ivy then walked out of the kitchen, leaving their parents unable to speak. Oh, this is not okay, said Levi and Ivy's mom as she and her husband followed their kids into the playroom. You two need to stop this bad behavior right now, said their dad, trying to think of something that would distract his kids and maybe get them back into their old selves again. He knew they both loved building with blocks, so he quickly started to stack some up and build a castle. Come on, Levi and Ivy, let's talk about what's going on while we build, said their dad. You both love building with blocks. You're right, Dad, said Ivy as she walked over towards the castle he was building. But lately, I like knocking blocks down a bit more. And with a wave of her hand, she knocked down the block castle her dad was building and ran outside, with Levi following close behind her. Their parents, of course, ran after them, and they were getting worried and needed to find out why Levi and Ivy were acting this way and put a stop to it. Levi and Ivy's parents ran into the backyard and saw their kids standing by the back gate, and it was wide open. Oh no, the dog! Called out Levi and Ivy's parents. Thankfully, their dog hadn't gone too far and was brought back into the backyard. Levi and Ivy were just so focused on doing their own thing that they didn't even see their dog run through the gate. Levi and Ivy's parents took their kids back inside and sent them to their rooms so they could come up with a plan. They decided first that Levi and Ivy needed a timeout. Then they would make them clean up the messes they made in the house, and finally, they would get to the bottom of why they were acting the way they were. As the day went on, Levi and Ivy continued to act naughty, not their sweet, kind, helpful selves at all. They were stomping around the house, not saying please and thank you, and only thinking of themselves. After lunch and a few more messes to clean up, Levi and Ivy's parents again sent them to their rooms. This has gone too far, said Levi and Ivy's mom as she flopped down exhausted on the couch. They aren't giving us any answers, and their behavior is just getting worse. I know. Overnight, they went from the sweetest kids ever to 2 naughty noodles, said Levi and Ivy's dad. Then all of a sudden, his eyes opened wide. He jumped up and ran to the kitchen, grabbing the bag of pasta he had bought the day before. I think I may know what's going on, said Levi and Ivy's dad as he pulled the sale sticker off the front of the pasta bag. And that's when he saw it, the real name of the pasta he had bought and fed to his kids. Hey friends, what do you think is written on the package? What kind of pasta is it? These aren't called Audie Oodles, they're called Naughty Noodles. The sale sticker was blocking the first letter of each word, exclaimed Levi and Ivy's dad, handing the bag to his wife. Look on the back, see if it says how long these side effects last. It says here, Naughty Noodles will make anyone who eats them act naughty for 24 hours, read Levi and Ivy's mom. It says it's a prank pasta and should only be eaten in very small amounts. And you made the kids half a bag of it? Levi and Ivy's dad immediately called Angelica and asked if she remembered what time she fed the kids the night before. She said she fed them at about 6 p.m., said Levi and Ivy's dad as he hung up the phone. So that means we have 2.5 more hours left with our Naughty Noodles. We've made it this far. I think we can make it another couple of hours, said Levi and Ivy's mom as she dropped the bag of pasta in the trash. All we can do is wait. And that's exactly what they did. Thankfully, the time went by quickly, and at 6 p.m., they went up and stood in front of their kids' bedrooms. They just hoped that when they opened those doors, they would have their sweet, kind, and helpful kids back again. Okay, it's 6 p.m., said Levi and Ivy's mom. Let's do it. She opened Ivy's bedroom door, and her husband opened Levi's door. And what they saw was just what they were hoping for. Hi, Mommy. I'm really sorry for the way that I've been acting. I don't know what happened, said Ivy in the sweetest voice ever. Do you think we can make some cupcakes together? I promise I won't eat them right before bed. Thank you for the apology, Ivy. I know it wasn't something you could control, said Ivy's mom. What do you mean? Asked Ivy, sounding confused. Not wanting to explain all about Naughty Noodles, Ivy's mom changed the subject and started talking about what kind of decorations they should use on the cupcakes they'd be making. Meanwhile, in Levi's room, his dad was having a similar conversation. Hi, Dad. Sorry for my naughty behavior. I won't do any of that stuff again, said Levi. Do you think that maybe we can play with my race cars after dinner? You got it, buddy, replied Levi's dad. Levi and Ivy's parents were so happy to have their sweet kids back, and the rest of the night went on as normally would. No naughty Noodles in sight. That night, Levi and Ivy helped clean up a bit more and then made a "I'm sorry" card for Angelica. They were sorry for the way they had acted with her and really hoped she'd come back and babysit them again soon. Thankfully, after Levi and Ivy's parents explained their naughty behavior was all because of the prank pasta they had ate, Angelica couldn't wait to come back over and watch the kids. Her only recommendation was maybe having pizza for dinner instead next time, just to be on the safe side.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned a little something too.
And since we know everyone has their own story, we'd love to hear yours.
If you have an idea for a Lively Lewis story, leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, your idea, and your little one's name.
Then maybe our next adventure
We'll be with you.
Until our next Storytime Hangout.
Thanks for listening.
We can't wait to share another fun, lively Lewis story with you.